Boston knew they were in trouble, Tom, but the most important thing is they fed off of their crowd, and in that third quarter, when Boston could have made a run, the Knicks just put that one last run together to put the game away.
So it was good to see them, to round this all together, good to see them finally put all the pieces in place to close out the series and say, yes, we are playing our best basketball, because that's what they're going to need against the Pacers.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
If you believe he should be in the Hall of Fame, there's, let's let him wait another 2 years. Wait, he's already dead at this point. Like, what are you waiting for? Another 2 to 3 years. He's either in or he's not. He's out. And sometimes you look at that too, Tom. It's like you can't tell, the history of Major League Baseball without Pete Rose.
Frankly, the writers have some standard that they want to hold players to, which seems to fluctuate on a player-to-player basis. So he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure how quickly he'll get there.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You are a Pirates fan. I don't think you've got a reason good enough for me to be wearing Mets stuff when the Mets are playing the Pirates right now. I don't think I'm going to go, okay, I see it at the end of your explanation.
I'm going to put it on Vinny. I'm going to put it on all the Mets fans. The Pirates won 2 in a row. They fired the manager over the weekend. A new era of Pirates baseball has begun.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on
And welcome in. It's in-game live game day on a terrific Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel along with Adam Kaufman filling in for Dave Sherapan. Tonight as we take you right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, and betting on the world of sports. Little playoff hockey, playoff basket starting in a little bit. We got a few baseball games already underway, a few more that'll start just a couple of moments. So a lot to keep us posted and hopefully make a couple of shekels along the way, Mr. Kaufman. Would you be more surprised? I'll start it right off. Would you be more surprised with the Dallas Stars win tonight, or a New York Knicks win, or a Colorado Rockies win? We always got to throw the Rockies in there for every question we pose, somehow, some way, or a Colorado's Rocky win tonight. What's going on?
Well, it was a tough question until you said Colorado Rockies. That one would definitely surprise me the most. If I'm taking them away and focusing purely on the playoff teams, I think a Dallas Stars win would surprise me the most, but it's close. I mean, I believe in the favorites tonight. I'm a Pacers supporter here in this game without question, and the Oilers are just a team that I think is so offensively strong that's the, it's not to say they are impervious to losses. Obviously, we've seen it, but that's a team that, again, I just, to me, if they're going to lose, they lose a high scoring game, because I don't know how you keep them off the board. So those are a couple of things that I'll be watching for tonight. It's exciting. Both these games are starting fast.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, like I said, make a couple shekels along the way. One of our things that we do here are 5 on the line. Nice little 3-2 last night. We give you the 5 best trends of games that are either just starting or will start when the show is underway, which it is obviously right now. Last night, again, 3-2, not bad. It was basically a break even because one of the losses was minus 175. We like to be fair about this thing, but we hit with OKC. Good thing you played the money line because they didn't cover the 2.5 for 3, which really stinks. We hit with the under Pittsburgh, Arizona, and then we hit there with San Diego, which is now 11-2, their last 13 games on a Monday night. So with that, let us build on the week. Little 5 on the line. All right, 41 games now, over 500. We go from 5 down to the very best trend. We'll start with number 5, Adam. NHL, not going to go game, not even going to go over-under, but a pretty good stat I heard during the last contest, and that is Dallas has given up the first goal in 13 of their 16 playoff games this year. So, don't make this stuff harder than it has to be. You can grab Edmonton minus the 140 first goal. There we go. Our first one on the board. Give me the Oilers minus 140 to score the first goal tonight.
Interesting. It's not a market I've dabbled in by any means. Sometimes first period play, whether it be maybe a total, like do you go over or under 1.5 first period goals, that sort of thing. First goal to be scored is not something I've really dabbled in. I think to me it's just that's a finicky, fluky kind of thing. A lot of things can lead to a goal. I want a little bit more to play with in terms of a sample size. What I would rather do, I think, if I'm playing something similar, it's I would take the Oilers first period money line, do it that way. That way, if they happen to go up 1-0 in the first period, great, you could potentially win that bet. Even if it's tied at the end of one, obviously you get your push, no money, no money lost, no harm, no foul. But that I like that better, and like you said, plus money. So there we go.
Okay, that's not bad. Pick number 4 on our 5 down to 1 countdown, NBA. And we used a similar philosophy last night in order to win, and that is pay the Indiana Pacers team total this postseason, 12-3 to the over. So whether you think they win, lose, draw tonight, cover the spread or not, you bet they're over. So 12-3 is a pretty good trend to me. Give me over 111.5 Indiana Pacers team points tonight.
I'm in line with you and the trends. If anyone heard me on Game Time Decisions with Kev just a little while ago, I was giving this out as a play I really like tonight. I think they're correlated. If you believe in the Pacers to win, as I do, you believe in them to score. Going over the 111.5 points. They've cleared their team total twice in this series already, and in a bounce back here, I think they do so again.
Yep. Baseball number 3 in our countdown. This is one we gave out last night. It was an easy winner, so why get off it? Arizona now 17-7 under their last 24 games. Pittsburgh for the season 31-22-3 under now. That's 9 games more unders than overs. So they're giving you a fat number again today. 9 under 9. Pittsburgh at Arizona.
Boy, with Pittsburgh and Arizona, Burns against Burrows. Yeah, I guess I would lean toward the under, which is, much more about Burns than it is Burrows, obviously. This Pittsburgh team is not very good. We know that. And, this Arizona offense is certainly potent. But even if they go out, score 5, 6, 7 runs, I like Burns and this bullpen enough to shut things down on the other side. So I would look toward the under. I support it.
Yep, that's kind of what happened last time when they had quick 5 runs and then they just sat on the lead and ended up winning it 5-0. So number 2 on our 5 on the line best trends for tonight. Baseball again. This is one we've given out so many times, and I don't think it's missed one time. I really don't in the games that we've given it out, and that is Texas. 8-1 under their last 9 games. They're the number 1 under team in all of baseball. Excuse me, believe it or not. 22-6 under at home as well. They're at home tonight against Toronto, under 8.5, right? Why not? Toronto at Texas.
Yeah, I'm good with the under there. I like Eovaldi a lot. I like the Rangers to win this game. I like the Rangers' first 5 even better, just leaning into Eovaldi, take the bullpen out of it. I think a lower scoring game in this one makes a lot of sense. Maybe we get a, 4-2, 5-3 even. Either way, we stay under that total.
Yeah. That leaves us with only one. The coup de grace, creme de la creme, number 1 trend on the night. And it's a constant. I mean, it's just, you have to do it, right? They're going to win every once in a while. The Colorado Rockies, 3-20 their last 23 games. They're 2-22 as well their last 24 road games. They got the worst record in baseball. I mean, you could go on and on and on how bad Colorado is. The worst run differential by far. It's not even close in all of baseball. Cubs, by the way, number 1 run differential in the National League. So where are we going to go? It is the number 1 trend, folks. Cubbies,
yeah, obviously we're going with the Cubs.
Yeah,
obviously
Listen,
we're going with the Cubs.
You can lay the run and a half.
Which I don't.
They've only lost 6 games by 1 run, or I should say, or less. Sure. They've only lost 6 other games by 1 run. So you can lay the run and a half, but as we say here, Adam, I'd rather give you a team that you could put in a parlay and win than give you a losing pick. So you want to lay the 1.5, knock yourself out. It's kind of like with OKC last night. That's why we didn't lay the 3. The trend says they're going to win. It doesn't necessarily say how many runs. So do what you want. Just know it's minus 320 on the Cubbies tonight.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a lot about Horton, the starting pitcher for Chicago, other than the fact that he did get 1, 2, 3 in the first inning there with Colorado batting. But I can tell you that, 1, the Cubs offense is good. 2, Marquez on the other side sucks. And this Cubs team, like you said, I don't want to lay the minus 330, 320, whatever it is. I don't want to lay the run line either. I'd much rather money line parlay, put them with the Diamondbacks, put them with the Yankees later, put them with, the Astros. There are some good spots tonight here in the latter part of the baseball night.
Yeah, even if you wanted to combine them with some of the other trends that we've given you, you can use that way. This way, if we go 4-1, it's a boost up. So they're minus 4 and change now because Colorado didn't score. Cubs don't score in the bottom of the inning, then that'll come way back down. But for now, it is what it is. In-game live, game day, we are underway.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Adam in for Dave tonight as we take you along the way for the next 2 hours right here on SportsGrid TV. So good start, Adam, for the Indiana Pacers. Listen, they were up 20 game 3, so I'm not counting my money. But I did love Indiana tonight. I really did. I had 3 things to me. I was telling Sharepan last night that are figuring to come back for the New York Knicks. One, Karl Anthony Towns, he sucks in the fourth quarter. He just does. Now, he was terrific in game 3. That doesn't happen. That's why he's Cat and he's not a superstar. So strike number 1. 2, you're not going to get Indiana to shoot 5 of 25 from 3 like they did in game 3 tonight. That's strike number 2. And then number 3, which isn't being talked too much, that's Josh Hart. He's a big part of their offense, and he took 3 lousy shots. If you watch the game, the guy was chicken to shoot the ball. Played 34 minutes, and he took 3 shots. That's unheard of in an NBA game. So there's clearly some mental issues going on with him. Add it all up, Knicks squeak a win. I just don't think they're going to win tonight. I think it could get ugly. You throw in that they lost game 3 after being 2-0 against Cleveland and Milwaukee, and then they won game 4 in a blowout. I'm not calling for a blowout, but I did love Indiana. That line jump from 2.5 to 3.5 very late. That's a shrewd move. It's not a line move that's in the middle of the week like a football game. That's a shrewd late move. Neesmith is playing. That helped the cause. He's got 6 points already. So they're up 5, 16-11, long ways. But I did like Indiana going in, Adam. They're laying 4.5. I would lay the 4.5. I'd lay up to 8.5. I really would with this club tonight. What about you?
So I don't know that I want to lay up to 8.5. The 4.5 I could maybe talk myself into. It's just I don't quite want to get there because I realize you've lost value in the number, obviously, unless New York makes a comeback and it swings the other way. I just think. Look, if you liked Indy, it didn't just dawn on you now. You felt it throughout the day. You felt it yesterday. You felt it off of that Knicks win in Game 3. Invest in it earlier, right? Get yourself a better number. I mean, at open, it was 2.5, and there were still some 2.5s out there at close. Also, some 3.5. So, I just don't see any sense in investing off of what you've seen in the first 4 minutes. But certainly, you got to feel good about what you're seeing if you're a Pacers backer. You said it, 5 out of 25 from 3 back in game 3. Tonight, 3 out of 4 in the first 4 minutes. So obviously shooting better, controlling things a little bit better, ripe for a bounce back. Halliburton's got his dad back in attendance for home games. There's a little narrative street energy for you, and he's off to a hot start. Points, rebounds, and assists, already flirting with, a triple-double in the first quarter. Not obviously anywhere close to it, but I mean, he's filling out the box score with 3s across the board, so we'll see what he's able to do. Pretty good start for the first 4 minutes again for him. But yeah, I just think this Pacers team is much better than the Knicks team, and we've been talking about it here for a couple of weeks. It feels like that long anyway, certainly dating back to when you and I were doing shows last week. I was on Indy at plus money going into the series. I expect a long series. I expected, 6-7 going in. I still think, we're going to get 6-7. I don't think this is going to be easy. If Indiana wins this series in 5, as I expect the Thunder to tomorrow night, that would really surprise me. I think the Knicks do put up a fight. The way I sort of see it probably playing out, and I was saying this on another show yesterday, or maybe it was with you for all I can remember. I think that, the Pacers win this game tonight. Knicks get it done at home in game 5. It goes back to Indy, and the Pacers take the win in game 6 and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals. This Knicks team, Kevin and I were getting into this. The fact that this team's best wins here in this postseason have all required, 20-point comebacks or, late game heroics out of Brunson. There's no just complete evisceration of the opponent, like what we saw from the Timberwolves against the Thunder in game 3. And I'm not saying you need to have, be one of these many teams this postseason and have a 30, 40, even 50-point win, but go out and have a wire-to-wire win. Go out and win a game by 10, 15 points where from the first quarter on, it's just never in doubt. And they really haven't had that. Everything has been close and stressful, and where's the production going to come from? Is anybody going to help Brunson on this given night? It's not inspiring if you're rooting on the Knicks, certainly not if you're a Knicks fan. I mean, I think the Thunder win the NBA Finals regardless, but I think the Pacers make it a much tougher fight for them if and when we get there.
Yeah. The only one I would say is the clincher against the Celtics. That was wire to wire. Our Celtics just laid down. They ended up winning by 40 points. That was the one that was right. And I tell you, Adam, this would be a non-sweating 6-game series. And you think if you have a 6-game series, well, you have to sweat it out somewhere along the line. But Not really. Like, if Indiana wins tonight, they're up 3-1, series is over. Yeah, you throw away game 5 back in New York, and then you come back home and you win in 6. So it's kind of a misleading 6-game series for the Knicks if it ends up being that way, because they just didn't really threaten Indiana after they lost the first 2 games. Tonight would be one of those, okay, here's a threat. Let's see what they can do. But if they end up losing tonight, you're right. It may end up going 6, but like I said, it's kind of a misleading 6 games. So I would be very disappointed knowing that they were able to beat the Celtics. They should have been able to at least really throw a scare into Indiana.
Yeah, and you can tell the Celtics fan in me has completely blocked the existence out of that game out of my head already. So thanks for the reminder. Look, the Knicks are in front now by 1. They've come back a little bit from down 7, and so it's back to the original 2.5. This is where I would invest in the Pacers, or you could even sit and wait a little bit, see if New York goes up by 4 or 5 points, and maybe you can get Pacers at basically just to pick them and do it that way.
Yeah, how about the over? Look at the points, boy. We love the team total for the Pacers. I did like the over in general, but I was a little concerned about a 120-90 game. That's why I sided more towards the team total. As far as my betting trends are completely different, but 24-24, 5 minutes left in the first quarter. It kind of, it's like last night's game with Minnesota and OKC going up to that great first half of monster numbers. So it's up to 239.5. I don't know if I'd bet it over on that. That's a lot of 240 points. That's a lot of points. That's a little too high, but it's obviously on pace for more than
flashbacks.
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to game 1 when, you were investing in the over and then it was sitting around the mid 240s for a while, and you were saying, do I go under? Do I try and middle it? And obviously you didn't, fortunately, and then it zooms past that over because it went to overtime.
Yeah. SGP's coming up next.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams needed a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today with Hunter Brown winning the American Cy Young Award. I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back in game live, game day on the grid. Scott and Adam sit in for Dave tonight as we have our little SGP same game parlay time. Came close last night, but close only counts in hand grenades and bowling, right? So we got to hit it tonight. So we're going to use baseball for our SGP. Got to head out west. Got to use Arizona versus Pittsburgh. We talked about this game a little bit earlier. Let me grab the Diamondbacks minus 255, big price, but you got Corbin Burns on the hill. Remember, he's from Scottsdale. That's why he signed at Arizona. So no doubt extra pumped up to be pitching tonight. We're going to go under 9 Pittsburgh and Arizona. I mean, unless the Diamondbacks put 7-8 on the board, which isn't likely, but you never know. I don't see how this gets to 10 runs with Corbin Burns, who's been great over the last month or so. We'll use Burns strikeouts over 5.5, little juicy minus 140. He's hit 6 strikeouts or more in 6 of his 11 games this season. Pittsburgh, though, one of the worst strikeout teams in baseball, so we should get it tonight. We'll go Corbin Carroll, 1 hit. It's a monster minus 350. You would never play that straight, but put him in a parlay. It does boost it up about 100 points. He figures to get at least 1 hit. He's their leadoff hitter. And then Marte, 1 run scored. I'm guessing Arizona's going to put 4, 5, 6 on the board like they did last night, 5 runs. So minus 165. He's in the middle of the order. So add it all up, it's not bad. We've turned a minus 255 and then under 9 parlay, which probably would pay at $100 about $150 into a 6.5 to 1 parlay, because I think we'll get the other 3 easily.
I like the look of it. I don't want to do the whole I don't see how this thing misses. Speech about look. It's nothing's free, nothing's automatic, nothing's a lock. Any of those little warnings that people may or may not need. It's not easy to hit a 6 to 1, 6.5 to 1. But if I'm looking for a problem area, a real concern, there isn't one that jumps out at me. If I had to really kind of dig deep, it's one of two, right? It's fluky stuff. It's either, at first would be Marte scoring a run, because again, scoring a run is not automatic, but obviously his place in the order coupled with obviously the expected production, then it makes a lot of sense. Carroll, Carroll has been awesome, for sure. But there's, I don't always have him on the right day. Like there are a couple of times that I've had hit lays and, might have 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in it just to throw around, throw goofy money at, and have a fun time. And it'll be that random day that Carroll goes 0 for 3 with a walk. So not automatic. More often than not, obviously, he reaches base via the hit, but those would be the two. Burns, I think, gets there. I already told you I think the Diamondbacks win this game, and staying under, so long as Burns does do his job, I don't think is going to be that big a problem unless the Diamondbacks, like you said, go crazy with the bats. So it would be, again, one of the 2 players there at the plate, be it Marte or obviously Carroll.
Right. My concern would be the under, but like I said, Arizona could put 7-8 on the board and 7-3 a game goes over, but out of 10 runs is a lot of runs for a Pittsburgh Pirate game. Their numbers have been just awful this year. So we roll the dice, 6.5 to 1, put a couple shekels on it, hit 2 of these last week. So we're not necessarily on fire, but we're doing fairly well with these over the last few plays. So our hockey game is underway, Adam. No score. What do we got? About 6.5 minutes in. Numbers are very similar. Edmonton's minus 146, Dallas plus 114. That was just a tad higher at the start of the game. Over-under is down from 6.5 to 5.5. I think Dallas has a shot tonight. I didn't see it last night at all with Carolina, and the underdog came through. Most people are hopping on Edmonton again today. But I think Dallas has a shot to win this thing tonight. I think they do. I think it needs to be a lower scoring game, just like the Knicks, I think, need a lower scoring game against Indiana to have a better chance. I don't think Dallas wants to get in a shootout with Edmonton, especially at Edmonton. So kind of a 3-1, 3-2, 4-2 maybe type of game. But I think people are underscoring how good Dallas is because of the way they've lost some of these road games. But I think they put it together tonight.
Dallas just had a power play, did not come through, and so it's back to even strength, still scoreless, about 7 minutes. So there was an opportunity there for the Stars to take that first period lead, obviously, and feed into a lot of what you're talking about. Like you said, this series is much more of a pick-em in my eyes, in most people's eyes. I didn't think Carolina had a shot last night. I thought the Hurricanes were dead. I had a Thunder-Panthers moneyline parlay that obviously wasn't even close ultimately because Florida lost handedly in that game by the end. But to your point about Dallas and really about the Oilers offense in particular, I just don't see the Stars winning a 3-1 game tonight, especially in Edmonton. So, it's either the Oilers win or it's going to be pretty high scoring.
All right, more coming up here on the Grid.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams needed a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. All right, no doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle the other day. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today. Would Hunter Brown win the American Cy Young Award? I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Adam, hour number one. Just recapping here before we get to our first guest of the evening. We got Knicks and Indiana Pacers. Believe it or not, you're not going to believe it's still in the first quarter, but it is. 39-32, Indiana leading with a minute left, 71 points in the first quarter, 6.5 and 2:40.5. Hockey is still scoreless midway through the first period. You're clinging on barely 9.5 minutes in if you got one of those goal in the first 10-minute props. And then our PP real quickly, one half looks pretty good, and that is the Mets and Cubs parlay, right? Mets leading 5-2 over the White Sox, and then the Cubbies are scoreless with the Rockies as they play top of the third inning. So we got some baseball, we got some football, we got some baseball, we got some basketball, we got a little hockey, so let us talk it all with our good buddy. Yeah, but soon enough, right? Soon enough, Adam, we'll get the football right around the corner. Mark Zeno joins us, Sports Grid host. You see him here all the time here on the Grid. What's going on, Mark? How are you tonight, bud?
Doing well. Already cashed a bet when I came on this show. Can't believe we don't have any goals yet between Stars and Oilers. I mean, I thought a first period over 1.5 would feel pretty confident in this game.
Yeah. What was so clearly it wasn't the no goal in the first period then. What was the ticket you cashed?
Nerfy between Houston and the Athletics. Nice. So
there you go.
We had a good matchup with
like
JP Sears and Hunter Brown.
6-out sweat.
I mean, listen,
all about that.
It's one of those things. I haven't played Nerfies in a while, but it was just one of those things. The more I started diving into the game, like I felt like Hunter Brown, and I would have played the Astros straight up tonight. I would have laid the 1.5 of them as well. Hunter Brown was due for some major positive regression after losing 2 straight starts. He's one of the highest fit pitchers in all of baseball. I mean, he's been really, really good this year. One of the 2 or 3 best in the American League, to say the least. And after 2 consecutive losses, I knew he was going to bounce back. And even though the Athletics score more on the road than they do at home, I still kind of trust the Houston Bats. in this spot. They're actually they're getting to that point of the year. They did the same thing last year, guys. Remember how bad they were in the start of the year? They came back and won the division. Now Houston's starting to feel like a play-on team. They're getting into the top 12 in batting average, OPS, and WRC+, particularly at home. So the bats are starting to come around for Houston at this point in time, and you're going to start to see this thing by the time we get to the end of June that the Houston Astros are going to be creeping up to the top of the AL West again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Hunter
get back
Brown,
to baseball
by the way,
if we have time, but let's
0.96. Yeah, I was going to say real quick, Hunter Brown at home, his ERA is 0.96, Adam.
Yeah,
I mean,
he hasn't allowed a run at home since the first start of the year against the Mets.
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
nuts. Let's get back to this basketball game here, because at the end of one, Mark, it is 43-35. The Pacers are leading. For people that don't feel like whipping out the calculators, that is 88 first-quarter points. Now, Scott and I were both saying we love the Pacers team total over tonight, 110.5, 111.5. That range, obviously, we're more than a third of the way there already. Halliburton is going nuts. 15 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Again, just the first quarter. How did you see this one coming in?
Well, apparently the Knicks got them right where they want them, as they're down by 8 early. So they got to wait for another 12 points before they start deciding that they want to get in this game. It's interesting because Brunson is started out hot. He's 5 of 9 and 2 of 5 from 3 at 13 points. Yep. Everybody else sort of slow, particularly Karl-Anthony Towns has only played 4 minutes so far. And apparently Tom Thibodeau is believing all the noise that we're hearing about how the two of them can't be on the floor together. So I wonder when Karl-Anthony Towns is going to get involved in this game, because if anything, Towns has been the one guy that the Pacers haven't been able to figure out. I did like his over 21.5 points tonight. You have to figure that if the Knicks are going to need scoring and they're going to need it late throughout the game, that Towns is the guy who's going to be able to do it. Again, he's only played 4 minutes, 1 of 1, and with 1 rebound. So slow start for Cat in this game. But again, this up and down pace for the Knicks is not really going to lead well for them. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of this plays out. It's obviously very early in this game here. The Pacers are shooting 68% from the field. That likely can't continue. They're 6 of 8, 75% from 3. That likely can't continue. But, this is one of these games where you wait to see how the second quarter goes, hope this thing soars over the first half number, and then likely come back with a second half under, or bet the total live and take the under, as the defense should ratchet up, because one of two things will happen. Either the defense will ratchet up for the Knicks and they'll get back in this thing, or the Pacers are going to run away with it and a blowout's going to happen, and they're going to pull up everybody late and say, let's just focus on game 5 at the Garden. We're not going to waste any more energy on anybody, and the pace will slow down naturally.
Yeah, Cat does have 2 personal fouls too, so that probably is playing a role in why he's only got 4 minutes.
There you go.
But still, I don't know why they would get into a running match. Indiana already, Mark, has more 3-pointers tonight than they had the entire game 3, 6 versus 5. So,
well, and again, you kind of the game script for this thing, you had to realize that the Pacers wanted to play up tempo, as they always do.
Right.
And the Knicks need to slow this thing down a little bit, but. The Pacers aren't a great defense, and we keep forgetting about that. And the Knicks have the ability to put points up, as we've seen in this series. They can get to 120 in this game. So, but they're going to need a full complement of everybody to do it. And here's the rub on this whole thing, to be honest with you, because with Thibodeau going with this more defensive lineup with Bridges, Anunoby, and Robinson in the starting lineup, you're going, okay, well, I'm going to sacrifice the scoring for the defense. Well, guess what? That doesn't work through the first 12 minutes, because they're making shots at will, the Pacers. So, how does Thibodeau adjust, I think, really ultimately will determine the outcome of this game. Thank God I stayed off this game as a Knicks fan. It was too much. I couldn't keep betting against them. I didn't want to bet on them, so I just, stayed off of it and stick with the baseball tonight.
Like you said, though, it does ebb and flow. Right now it's only 6.5 and at even money if you wanted to invest in the Knicks to just keep this a close game by the end, never mind potentially win. But do you, not as a Knicks fan, I guess, but as a bettor, do you root for this to maybe get a little bit worse? And if it gets to, 11.5 or something like that, you want to invest in the Knicks at that point? Or is this just a total stay away right now?
No, I'd wait for double digits at this point. I think it will get worse. I mean, honestly, I think this is going to balloon up to double digits pretty quickly. And once it starts to, you're going to see some bigger numbers pop out there for the Pacers. I mean, look, the algorithm for live betting doesn't take into account the fact that the Knicks came back from 20 last time. It's time, left, score, and pace that dictate that algorithm. It has nothing to do with the actual humans involved in it. So, yeah, I think this number can get a lot bigger. and I would wait it out to see if it does. I mean, at the end of the day, if you wanted to jump in on the Knicks right now, I mean, you're asking them for 3 more quarters to be able to hang with them. And that's a tough ask at this point in time, given the shot making that the Pacers have had.
Who'd you like baseball tonight?
Well, again, as I told you, the Astros were a play. The Twins were, I think, in a very kind of sneaky play tonight. The other game I looked at, and it ended up, I never ended up getting there, but because I had a lot of concerns. But the Braves and Phillies first 5 under. Spencer Strider in his career against the Phillies coming into tonight, guys. You want to hear some insane numbers? 8-0 with a 2.06 ERA and 80 strikeouts in 50 and a third innings, 52 and a third innings. He has literally owned the Phillies. The problem is that the Spencer Strider that we knew no longer exists, right? Like, here's the thing, and this was pointed out on Twitter by the Braves beat writer Dave O'Brien. And you're facing 2 things. One, the guy's coming off the second elbow surgery, Tommy John, and then a modified Tommy John. So he clearly can't throw as hard as he used to. And now he had a lower body injury that he's returning from after his first start of the year against Toronto, went on the IL with a hamstring injury, came back, got banged around in his first start off the IL. He just doesn't have the velocity. There was a walk in the 3rd inning. I think it was, I forget who it was, but it was an 11-pitch walk where whoever he was facing on the Phillies, let me go back and just look at it because I want it. It's worth noting here because it wasn't exactly like it was a high level Phillies player here. It was Stott, and it was an 11-pitch walk, but he fouled off 5 consecutive pitches on 3 and 2 that were all around 94, 95 miles an hour. Prior to the surgery, Spencer Strider would have blown him away with 98, 99, and he would have had a strikeout. That's not the case. It's not the same guy anymore, and you have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, and he plunked Bryce Harper earlier in the game. I don't know if you saw that. He left with an elbow injury. So, yeah. Mark, great job as always. We'll do it again soon. In-game live. No, we're good. We're good. Yeah, we're fine. Okay.
Buy or sell Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke, but how many teams could afford him? All right,
that'd be cool.
5, 6.
All right.
How many teams could third baseman who can't play
I'll Maddie
third
contact
base?
you tomorrow.
How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched it against Seattle the other day.
When you get a pitcher like Strider like that, fantastic. He didn't pitch well his first outing.
Hunter Brown won the American Cy Young Award.
He actually pitched well as far as, but he threw 90 pitches.
Said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year.
But who knows what you really get with guys like that.
My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Adam sitting in for Dave Sherapan tonight. Take you right up till 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks again, Mark Zito, for joining us there for a couple moments. Get some baseball and some basket winners from him. Hopefully get a chance to talk with him again tomorrow night. So, update in the hockey, Adam. Edmonton did score. Didn't come within the first 10 minutes for those that played that prop. 11:23 into the game. The one guy who didn't score when they put 6 on the board in Game 3, Leon Draisaitl, figures he's the first one that scores tonight. Nugent Hopkins and Corey Perry. But they have so many notable guys. Whether these guys are good or not, I mean, they are good, obviously. But, like, every time you give a goal for Edmonton and you rattle off the assists, 8 times out of 10, if it's an opposing team, it's guys you never heard of. Every single guy, whether it's a Vander Kane or Zach Hyman or this guy or that guy for Edmonton, it's always some, so I want to say the big boys have come through, but it seems like everyone that plays for Edmonton is a big boy. So anyway, bad start for Dallas, right? It's not over, obviously, 1-0, but this Stars team, I tell you what, they're 2-7 on the road or 2-5 on the road this postseason. And more importantly, they've been outscored 28-10 in their road games. I did like them tonight. I always put a couple shekels aside to double down if things aren't going well to start the game. Obviously, they're not. Now I would hop on again, plus the 230. But then if they give up a second goal, then I turn the faucet off. But 1-0 Edmonton, over-under is 5.5.
Yeah, I like the Oilers coming into this one. Felt chalky, obviously, but again, it's leaning into the team with the better offense, coupled with the fact that it's at home. If this game were in Dallas, I might have viewed it a little bit differently. But I just think, and this is, really easy to say, this Oilers offense is really hard to slow down. We've seen it throughout these playoffs. Not to say the Stars can't get on the board; they certainly can. And it's kind of nuts to me that we're viewing or treating Stuart Skinner in net like he's this stopper, but he is capable. We saw it last year. They went to the Cup final, obviously lost, but it went to 7 games. He is a capable, more than capable goaltender that maybe doesn't have that same name recognition as so many of the players who put up all these points that you're talking about. And I think some of that, by the way, some of the names that you rattled off, not a McDavid or a Nugent Hopkins or a Draisaitl, but some of these other guys have starred on other teams and now find themselves here. So we're used to seeing these guys put up points elsewhere, and now they're just fitting in well, especially when it's on the power play, as this Draisaitl goal was. This team gets on the power play. I don't know how they're ever stopped. I mean, they have so many weapons, and again, to get this one, and McDavid's not even involved, obviously, and he's arguably the best player in the world. So Draisaitl up to 7 in the postseason, 7 goals now, and like you said, Nugent Hopkins, I'm not sure gets enough attention or respect for what he has been doing this postseason. I feel like every time I look up, this dude has a multiple point game. And that's now 12 assists here in the playoffs.
Yeah, amazing. Dallas again has double check 12 shots on goal already, and there's still 3 minutes left to go in the first period. So the over, yeah. I mean, I love the over on Skinner staves. It was 22.5. I know it went up to 23.5, but I mean, he's on pace to blow that away. I'm looking for updated numbers, because if they're hesitant on pumping that up, I would I'd go over again. The third period saves, second period saves. How about total saves? I got everything except total saves for the goaltenders. That's weird.
Maybe I'm not looking in the right places, but I don't generally have much success looking for in-game save numbers. Obviously, shots on goal, or, like in basketball, we talk about all the different categories. Baseball, same deal. In-game saves, I don't usually see that market. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I've seen it before. Last game, in fact, same Edmonton, Dallas. We were doing it. So player props, I don't live it. How about popular? There's so many different things. God bless them. They give you a ton, but sometimes it's a pain in the butt to find out.
Menu.
Yeah. That's why a lot of times I always joke with Joe Madden, who I work with on Saturdays, Joe, or Adam. If I see something I like, I'll put it in for 10 cents, literally. Because then if you go to my bets later, all you have to do is just hit reuse selections, and there it is. Rather than going through the whole, you look at all these bets, and then you forget which category was on. I got all these bets for 10 cents. FanDuel must think I'm nuts, right? But that's the easiest way to do it. Then just go to my bets, and there they are. So I don't see it. I know it's got to be here. Maybe I see the second period saves, and I see the third period saves. Maybe they got to wait till after the first period. But I would play.
Let me ask.
I don't know why they. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this one. So the Oilers are up 1-0. Obviously, not quite the end of the first period, but it's coming up. The Pacers, with 8.5 to go in the opening half, are now leading by 3 at a TV timeout against the Knicks. So you could put Pacers Oilers money line together and get plus 110-ish on FanDuel, or depending on where you shop around. Is that a bet you like? Versus, I'm going to take the puck line, or I'm going to lay the currently 2.5, whatever it may be.
Right. Nah, I'm not really. I just as soon lay the minus 130 versus, versus putting in a whole different piece and getting it down to even money.
Sure.
In my mind, it is kind of even. A minus 130. I'm not putting hundreds on these things. So for me, I'll lay a couple of extra pennies on the juice that I would add a second piece. Now, if I was betting hundreds or thousands, then I could see the value of that. But for me, nah. It's interesting. You have 95 points. You have 8 minutes left to go in the second. I'm trying to figure out how many more points. At this rate, we're probably going to get maybe 40. I don't know if they're going to quite get 50 more points. So you're going to be about 140 or so, Adam. So right now, the over-under is 243.5. I'm trying to figure out, they're basically asking for 100-point second half, the way it's going right now. That's a pretty good bet, the way these two teams are going at it right now. Can we get 40, say 110 points second half?
You should be able to get it. Let me see. It doesn't have a second half prop. You can get second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. You could just break it down that way. Third quarter total points, 54.5. Fourth quarter total points is 52.5. So that's what, 107?
Yeah. You're not getting 107 points in the second half of a game like this, competitive. Neither team's coach is going to go into the locker room saying we effed up. I mean, it's going to be, it figures to be a close game.
Yeah.
Boy, I like those. I'd put that in right now. I would. All right, more coming up.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams need a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle the other day. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today with Hunter Brown winning the American Cy Young Award. I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the grid. Scott and Adam closing out hour number one with you know what, our Black Cloud play of the day. Off to another nice little win streak as we hit last night with OKC. This is why we laid the money line versus the 2.5, 3 points, because the thinking was that we were going to win and not have to worry about the points. They do, so nice little cha-ching on that one. That makes 4 straight winners dating back to last week. Now 37-20. So if you're a dollar better, you put $2. Who knows? Maybe even 3. Really stretch your limit because we like this play so much. We're going to use baseball. I don't like to double down, and we're not really doubling down, but we kind of are with our Black Cloud, but we hit it with it last night. So that's Arizona and Pittsburgh. Not that many games that haven't started, so we're kind of limited. But I do like this anyway. You see it. Pittsburgh team runs, not the game, but Pittsburgh's teams runs. This way we don't have to worry about Arizona putting 8 or 9 on the board. Under 3.5, minus 130. 7 of their last 10 games have been 3 runs or less. You got Corbin Burns on the hill. This is the main reason why we're going to use this tonight. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 1.48 at home this season. He's pitching his best ball. He did give up 3 runs, but on only 4 hits again and 7 innings against the LA Dodgers. No shame in that his last time out. But his last 3 before that, shutout, 1 run. So the guy's been on fire. You throw in the numbers at home. You throw in the Pirates suck, and we're going to go under 3.5 Pittsburgh Pirates team total tonight, Adam.
Yeah, it's 2 factors, both of which I really like. One, the Pirates can't hit. I mean, we have debates as to whether Pittsburgh can win games when Paul Skeens is on the mound. This team can't hit. And then you couple that with everything that you just said about Corbin Burns, who is legit. I mean, obviously, ace of the staff, having a great start to 2025. Put those 2 together, yeah, under 3.5, I'm right there. I mean, the only thing that would worry me about it, short of obviously Burns just pitching terribly, which, would be an anomaly this year, would be, the pitch count just really ratchets up and, he leaves after 7. And then, Pirates scratch a couple across after scoring 2 earlier in the 8th and 9th innings, and you lose it that way. And it's just another one of those, old man shaking fist at cloud, angry betting against bullpen moments. That's what I mean. We've all been there. We've all lost those. But I'm with it. I'm with the under 3.5 runs.
Yeah, it's the concern is you get up 6-7-0. The bullpen's got to get, even if Corbin Burns does pitch great, right? He's got to go 6 innings, maybe 7. Then you got to use the back end of your bullpen. You're not going to use, the main guys in a 7-0, 7-1 game, and they scratch across a couple of runs, and they lose 7-4, and you lose your bet. But I do like the thinking overall. It's tough to go under 3.5, right? It really is, because you can scratch into 4 runs by accident. But that's the play tonight. Our PP did hit last night. Didn't hit if you laid the 1.5, but it did hit as far as they shut the lights out on me with the Cubs winning and the Mets winning. There we go. Cubs are leading again 2-1 now over the Rockies as they play top of the 4th inning, and the Mets are leading 5-2 over the White Sox, who had the bases loaded top of the 6th, but 2 out. They didn't score, so head to the bottom of the 6th. Mets on top 5-2.
I'm just I want to look at something else real quick and see how quickly my FanDuel screen cooperates. So just a potential alternative to that under 3.5 on the Pirates for the full game. Because again, we're sitting here, we're celebrating Corbin Burns like crazy. We're criticizing these Pirate bats. How about can we get an under first 5 team total on Pittsburgh? I mean, it's probably
that's not bad.
What? It's probably 1.5, 2.5. Obviously, it's a really low number, but I'm just the total runs it's 4.5 for between the 2 teams. That's what I'm saying. I don't think FanDuel offers this market, but it might be one that we could find elsewhere because it'd be appealing as well.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember. I do remember seeing, I'm looking at it now, the first 5 for both teams. I've heard guys come on the air and suggest under 5 or whatever for a team, but I don't think FanDuel offers it. You're right about that. But that's not a bad, especially if it was 2.5. 1.5, but it's a good way to take Arizona out of the equation, good way to take the bullpen out of the equation. Do I think Pittsburgh's going to score 2 runs in the first 5 innings? No, I don't. If I did, I wouldn't make the bet. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. The under 5, the other 1.5 or 2.5, if it was 2.5, even 1.5.
The other apps.
Yeah. Hour number 2 coming up next.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams needed a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle the other day. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today. Would Hunter Brown win the American Cy Young Award? I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott and Adam sitting in for Dave tonight as we take it to 10 p.m. Eastern time. We got Cam Stewart coming up in about 40 minutes or so. We'll go over some hockey, some NBA, no doubt some baseball plays as well. Then he'll take over along with Gabe Morency at the top of the hour. We got our 5 on the line in. We got our Black Cloud in, under 3.5 runs Pittsburgh Pirates. We got our SGP in, so we're just taking a peek at the little playoff hockey, playoff NBA, and then some baseball stuff. We'll start that with the baskets. That is going on. The hockey's in between periods right now, one first and second period. NBA, back and forth they go. Great game, entertaining, ton of points. No one's really been down by double digits. I know the Pacers are up by maybe 8, 9. I don't think it quite hit double digits, but right now Indiana by 4, 60-56 with 3 minutes and change left to go in the first half. Ton of points. Over-unders up to 238.5. It was high as 245, maybe even higher than that. I saw it earlier. And the numbers, similar to where it was to start the game, 4.5 back and forth they go. So your impression so far, first half, Indiana and the Knicks.
Well, first off, I'm kind of laughing at myself because if anyone was listening when we were talking about that game after the first quarter, I think when Zeno was on, I said, the Pacers are up 43-35 at the end of one, and I'll save you the trouble of getting out the calculator. That's 88 total points. Probably could have used the calculator. That's 78. I don't really know what my math was going on right there, but I looked at that again because we have really had a very different looking second quarter. Only 2 minutes to go until halftime, and there is a grand total, this one I will get correct, of 42 points. 25-17 New York is up here in this second quarter to make it a 60-all game. right now. So, I mean, you've got basically half, a little bit more than half the points in the second quarter versus what you saw in the first. So the Pacers shooting has come back down to earth. It was up in the mid 60s. It's still great. I mean, they're still mid 50s, but it's not obviously what it was early. Halliburton continues to be insane. He really could get to a triple-double, early third quarter. He has 20.7 rebounds, 7 assists, does not have a single turnover. He has committed 1 foul. He has hit all of his free throws, 4 out of 7 from three. He's played 16 minutes. He's just been exceptional. He is the reason that the Pacers are where they are right now. And credit to a guy that I often fade because he's so unreliable. He's not a bad player. He's just unreliable. Pascal Siakam, who has decided, I'm going to shoot today. He's 5 for 8, has 13 points as well. Pardon me. Those are the only 2 guys that are in double figures in scoring for the Pacers right now, who now trail by, or they just went up. They hit a 3, so they just went up by 2 again. But on the Knicks, it's more balanced, right? Jalen Brunson had 13 first quarter points, nothing for him in the second, which is a little alarming, quite frankly. Towns has woken up after the slow start, has 14 points. He's, the foul trouble kept him off for a little while in that opening quarter, but he played most of the second so far. 13 points out of OG Anunoby as well. And like you said, it's been a back and forth game. Hart's been solid off the bench. It's, with games like this, you tend to look toward role players for the home team, obviously, to, be a little bit more impactful. And those often can be difference makers. And so far in this one, like Neesmith has 8 points. He's hit a couple of threes, but he had 6 right out of the shoot and hasn't done a lot since. Mathurin has 8 points in his 6 minutes, which is obviously a solid start, but you're not getting too much else from the other guys. It's, again, been a 2-man show. Like, I need a little bit more in this game out of Turner, who has 5 points, out of Nembhard, who has 3 points. Like, if these secondary or third options for the Pacers need to sort of get it into gear a little bit, because if this game is close for a while, Scott, as it projects to be, eventually the Brunson takeover's coming, whether it's late third, early fourth, late fourth, the entire fourth, whatever, it's coming. He's not going to stay, quiet for too long. And that, if I'm a Pacers fan, concerns me. It's one thing if Brunson's doing what Halliburton's doing, and so it's sort of even. When Brunson has 13 in the first, and he is, under a rock in the second quarter, that it's coming. And that would be the alarming thing if you're an Indiana backer.
Yeah. I tell you, it's amazing with the over-under. I'm fascinated with this. They have 127 points with a minute left. So let's just say they get 3 more, minute and 11 left. So let's say they get 130. Sure. They're giving you 113-point second half, right? Since the total is 242.5. But that in itself is pretty good. I got 130 points one half, and then you're making the over-under only 113 second half. Where do I sign for that? But then, as you pointed out earlier, that was astute of you, you could bet third, fourth quarters right now. Third quarter is only 54.5 points. Fourth quarter, they actually lowered to 51.5 points. I don't, this is NBA 2025. If this was NBA, 1985, 1995, 2005, maybe even 2015, yeah, I agree. Sooner or later, defense is going to kick in. Not 2025. You may not get another 130-point second half. Don't get me wrong, but I love those individual quarter totals, 54.5 and 51.5. I just don't think teams are going to stop scoring. I just don't.
Would you play the over on both, though? Because if you had to pick one, it's got to be the fourth quarter, right? When you're thinking, it's going to be close late, there's going to be free throws, all that stuff, like, especially with the fact that you said it's a lower number. That's the one that I would want to play the over on first. And if I'm only making one play, it's the fourth quarter, if I can't get the entire half somewhere else.
Right. Maybe. Yeah, you come out of halftime and, the 15 minutes that it is, it all of a sudden just stops. The legs take a little while to get back into the groove a little bit. So I suppose, but now it's down to 53.5. But they just think scoring is going to stop. We got 131 points now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a sucker bet. I don't know, Adam, but I'm willing to take it. You got 133 points. So now you're at 110 second half because the over-under is 242.5. We're going to go from 133 to 109 or less. If it was a blowout, I'd say yes, but it's not a blowout. There's no reason why these teams are going to change their philosophy second half. So I don't see it.
We just got to halftime, and the FanDuel does have a second half prop or second half tab open now, and it's just right now it's just second half winner, which is minus 113 aside. But I suspect during halftime at some point we're gonna get that full half total added in there as well.
It's 117.
Is it up now? There you go.
No,
Okay.
you can just add it. That's all. You just add the.
Well, no,
you
but
deduct the first half.
Sometimes there's
to the game.
Yeah, sometimes there's discrepancy though. No, I get what you're saying. Like the math should check out, but sometimes it's not right on the nose.
Right. Or 107. I said 130 or 170. It's 107, right? What do we got? 133. Yeah. 106. So you got to go from 133 to less than 107 to 106. I mean, I would go over 106 second half if this was 45-40. That number is so low. I mean, I got to see. I think that's a great number. Listen, I know when you take a step back and you say how many games actually have 240 points, which is what you need. I understand that, and I buy into that philosophy somewhere along the line. You know, somewhere the means has got to kick in here. But this just looks like one of these games. It's mano a mano. They're hitting their threes. How many points did we get second quarter after a 78-point first quarter? They followed that up with a 55-point second quarter. You got to go. You keep on going that way. Maybe I would go over though. I like the over myself. So
yeah,
I'd rather.
I mean, how the
be on an over
and both
and
teams,
not score.
Both these teams are shooting better than 40% from three, better than 50% overall, better than 90% from the free throw line. Like some of this stuff has to come back to earth, at least for one of these teams.
More so the Knicks in my eyes, but you're right. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to tonight. I'm betting over. All right, more coming up.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Adam, hour number 2. So we got NBA at the half. Pacers in a crazy game, 69-64, over under 240.5, and they're laying 4.5. So that overall under from the start of the game at 218, 219, that's obviously not looking good. Otherwise, it's pretty much what it was to start the game. After one, getting set to start the second period. Edmonton 1-0 over Dallas. Dallas will start the second period with basically a 2-minute power play. They had 7 seconds left in the first period, so that's a good start for the Stars. Hopefully, Zach Hyman out. Apparently, the rest of the game, I just saw the hit. He was kind of like in a center ice, and one of the Dallas Stars hit him. It didn't look like it was anything on purpose or a slash or anything. It just kind of like collided a little bit. You see it 1,000 times, didn't fall to the ice or anything, but he skated off limping over, and they're saying on Twitter anyway that he's out for the rest of the game. So that would be a big loss for the Edmonton Oilers. So 1-0 Edmonton, minus 265 are the Oilers, Adam. Dallas is 2-1, over-under is 5.5.
Yeah, again, I still think the Oilers are going to win this game. I mean, commend the Stars, obviously, for hanging as they have. And just to get some of those numbers you just recited in front of me as well. 5.5. I don't want to chase an over plus money at 16 because, again, we still need 5 more goals to get there. Not that we don't have two full periods, so obviously it could happen. But by the same token, I'm not laying that kind of juice at minus 152 to go under it either because either or both of these teams are fully capable of exploding. So, I think it's just stay away territory at this point. I think it's the only thing that would be a good bet that I could maybe talk myself into, and when I say good bet, I mean good number, would be Oilers on the puck line at plus 108. If you think the Oilers continue to do what they're doing, even if it stays close throughout, and then it's could get sweaty, like you're looking potentially for an empty netter there at the end. But obviously, Dallas down in this series as it is, who knows how early that goalie could be pulled if it's a 1-goal game or even a 2-goal game at that stage. So, that at plus money is appealing. But the other numbers that we're talking about here, I don't think I want to go near, Scott.
Yeah, I'm looking for the saves, updated saves for Stuart Skinner, and I don't see it. It's weird. They offer you second period and third period saves, but they don't offer you combined. Maybe on the game props, I kind of doubt it. But let me just see. I know I saw it over the weekend because Joe Madden and I were playing them with Skinner.
Maybe it wasn't FanDuel.
No, it was FanDuel. It was definitely FanDuel. So live. How about under popular? This last one. Before we move to baseball, Edmonton's game specials, goals, game specials popular, maybe? Nope. Yeah, all right. Otherwise, maybe they got pounded so badly that they wouldn't add. But yeah, why would they add any then? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Sometimes they just they screw up or whatever. But I don't. I don't see it.
Before we move over to baseball, good opportunity in this Knicks Pacers game. If you want to take a look at some of the lines that we have as far as halftime props available to us, because obviously nothing's gonna bounce around all that much. I was just kind of scanning the board. I would say the easiest one, and when I say easiest, I mean most logical, that jumps out at me that I would have no trouble playing. I like it quite a bit actually. Is Jalen Brunson, who's at 16 points, going over 32.5. Again, he had 13 points in the first quarter, only 3 in the second quarter, and his Knicks are down in a close game right now, in a game that they really not need to win, but kind of need to win. You don't want to be down 3-1 going back to New York. You'd like to turn this into a best of 3 and reclaim home court advantage. So, him getting 17 points in this second half seems, as long as he's healthy, doesn't get hurt, doesn't leave the floor. I don't know. I said this earlier, I don't want to be that guy, but I don't know how it doesn't happen. I really don't.
Right. How about, I wish there was no's on these things, but they only offer yeses. And I generally stay away from bets like that, but, we all break rules in gambling, right? But Tyrese Halliburton, he's got 20 points. He has 10 assists, and he's got 9 rebounds. So he's at 39. Will he get to 60?
Crazy.
That's 21 more points, rebounds, assists, second half at plus 114. See, I would go no if given the opportunity, just because I don't think he's going to score. He's not a 30-point scorer, but They don't offer a no. So it's either yes or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it's going to be a quieter half, and how could it not be? The dude basically is a triple-double in the first half, with the 20 points, as you mentioned. But 21 more in the entire second half, again, in a close game that is awfully important to Indiana because, the exact opposite of what I just talked about with Brunson, much as the, Knicks don't want to go down 3-1. The Pacers would love to, be stepping on the Knicks' throats and feel like, all right, we got 3 tries to win 1 game. I don't think Halliburton goes away. I would take that, yes. I think that's a good plus money look.
All right. His point total, I'm guessing, is around 30.
Correct.
Yeah,
31 and a half. Yeah.
So is it better to go?
I don't want
to
mess around. I don't want that one. Yeah, I would rather. It sounds crazy because we're talking about needing 11 of something versus 21 of a collection of things, but I would rather go over on that get to 60 play PRA that you're talking about versus getting, a dozen more points.
Right. Yeah, and then one is plus one, and the other one is minus 132. Well, they just lowered it to 125, but still. Yeah, but can he get to? The question is, can he get to 60? Can he get 21 without getting 12 points? That's a lot of assists and a lot of rebounds.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. But again, if there's one that I'm going to chase, I feel like I'd rather chase the other one. I understand they're correlated. I get it. I mean, that to your point, that's why this one's minus money and the other one's plus money.
Right. I like the Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns has 14, saddled with foul trouble. A lot. He played 4 minutes in the first quarter. He still has 14.
Yeah, but then he was out there in the second.
Can he get 11
because
more?
He's still
right.
Yeah, and he's still at. Let me just check. Yeah, he's still at 2 fouls. So what was early foul trouble really isn't foul trouble anymore.
Right. So he should be good for 11 points second half, right? I mean,
I think so. Yeah, that's an over that I like.
Yeah. I mean, he's such a dog in the fourth quarter sometimes, but he can't be tonight. Right. He just can't. So, all right, we'll check a little baseball, more halftime lines as well. In-game live continues.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams needed a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good at any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched it against Seattle. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today with Hunter Brown winning the American Cy Young Award. I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Adam at number 2. We got Cam Stewart coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Edmonton survived the 2-minute power play for Dallas to start the second period, so it's still 1-0. And now you can get under, I was debating on this. You either waited and waited for the number to drop to under 4.5 plus odds, or you could have had under 5.5 minus odds. And you'd be surprised how often that one goal does really make a difference. So it's kind of pick your poison there. So either way, it is now down to 4.5. Dallas didn't score on the power play, so it's 1-0 Dallas Stars. 1-0 Edmonton. Dallas continues though to get shots on goal. If you played any shot on goal props for Dallas, you can't be too disappointed from that standpoint. Same thing with Skinner saves. Right now, Dallas has 17 shots on goal. Obviously, no goals, so 17 saves for Skinner, Adam. His number was 22.5, maybe 23.5. Barring an injury, he's going to easily eclipse that. But this Dallas offense just stinks. I mean, not only are they 2-5, they scored 10 goals in 7 road games, 7.5 now, because they're basically halfway through this game. Disappointed in the Dallas Stars. Not giving up on them tonight, but I am disappointed in their performance so far tonight.
No, but to their credit, the 17 shots on net. There were so many times in the last round I'm watching these like Toronto games against Florida, and I'm getting angry. And I'm not even a Maple Leafs. I'm certainly not a Maple Leafs fan. Maple Leafs backer economically, but I'm just as a fan of the sport, I'm watching and they're just like getting cute, like all around the perimeter. Let's look for the perfect shooting lanes. It's like, guys, I mean, you're down. Garbage goals, greasy goals, fire it on net, hope a puck bounces in off a dude. Maybe you get an own goal. Like nothing. It's not how, it's how many. And so I at least like what the Stars are doing. And I'm more in tune with the basketball game tonight than the hockey game. But I appreciate at least box score watching here. That again, I mean, not even midway through the period, they're going on a power play here again. So not even midway through this game, they're already on the verge of 20 shots on net and pacing toward, 45 or so. That's exactly what you need to be doing when you are down. And by the way, they just scored on the power play. So we got a brand new game, 1-1.
Nice. There you go, Dallas Stars. I'm ready to write you off and you come through. Way to go. Cha-ching, cha-ching. All right.
There you go. I'm looking to see who scored it. I don't have it yet, unless they taken it off. ESPN told me they scored a goal and now it says 0 again. So maybe there was a review and it came off.
FanDuel's got it at 1.
Okay.
FanDuel's got it 1-1.
We'll see. It. Yeah. All right.
Robertson.
No, Dallas just gave it to him. Robertson. Yep.
Jason Robertson.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Good.
Cool.
See, you were in position to write them off all over again.
Yeah, I was. Believe it or not. So now it's back up to 5.5, and now Edmonton is minus 136. The Stars plus 106. So that is good. Hockey needs Dallas to win tonight, just like they needed Carolina to win last night, just like the NBA needed the Knicks to win in Game 3. It's kind of amazing how things kind of fall in line that way. So, all right, 1-1 Edmonton and Dallas. Our PP is holding on barely. And that's in baseball, the public parlay, as the Mets now lead the White Sox 5-4. It was 5-2. And the Cubs now lead the Colorado Rockies 2-1. It was 2-0. So if you played them straight in a parlay, you're still alive. If you played them laying the 1.5 in a parlay, or even straight for that matter, you're in a little bit of trouble. You got the 6th inning with the Cubs game, so you got 6, 7, 8. You got 3 at-bats still left against the Rockies bullpen. And then you got 2 at-bats left for the Mets. Bottom 7, bottom 8. We need to get another run. This White Sox team, Adam and I were talking, they're not as bad as last year. Record-wise, it's very similar. It is. It's almost identical, to tell you the truth. But if you watch the games or see their scores, Adam, right, they are much, much, much more competitive this year, the White Sox, than what they were last year. So not saying that they're going to win tonight, but it's hard to lay a 1.5 against them because they are competitive at least.
No, it's a pesky team, and they've led to me losing money on some of these parlays. Like there was a point in time not too long ago where I would just kind of blindly bet not just on certain teams, but against the worst teams, right? Like whoever's playing the Rockies, whoever's playing the White Sox, I'm going to put them together in a money line parlay. Hopefully it's not overly juiced. Maybe it's around minus 115. And rare occasions might even be plus money with how bad these teams are. I've stopped doing that unless I really like the matchup because the White Sox have started to, squeak through with some of these here. And I said it earlier, among the favorites that I liked tonight, the Mets were not on the list. I didn't trust this spot.
Yeah. All right, more coming up. In-game live game day on the grid.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. That's a joke, but how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams need a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good at any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. All right, no doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today. Would Hunter Brown win the American Cy Young Award? I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is he would, that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day on the grid. Scott Adam midway through hour number 2. So we got a tie hockey game 1-1 as Dallas Stars scored. Jason Robertson. As soon as I say that, as soon as I get my hopes up, where's the horn? As the Edmonton Oilers have just scored. 2-1.
Was it McDavid at least? Is he involved?
Let's see.
I need 2 points out of that guy tonight.
So far you have none. Right now, the Four-Letter Network has it 1-1, but FanDuel, which doesn't make a mistake, has it at 2-1. So I'm assuming it is 2-1. So I'll let you know, when we figure out who ended up scoring. So, all right. So sure. Dallas had a little reprieve there for about a minute and a half. So back down 1. We'll update the lines. Yeah. Good start for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, we got a McDavid point. We got a McDavid point.
Really?
Corey,
okay.
So it was another power. It was another. No, he didn't have the goal. Corey Perry with the goal from Nugent Hopkins and McDavid. So it was, the story in this one, Scott, is you got 3 power play goals. All the scoring. Like, just stay out of the box, guys. Stop making mistakes.
Yeah. 40-year-old Corey Perry. What is this guy still doing? I mean, at 40 years old,
points.
really?
It's 2 today.
2 today. He's playing well, actually. All right, so 2-1. Yeah. Let's see if they got updated lines on that. They do now. Edmonton is minus 330. Wow. You got 10 minutes left in the second period. You're not even halfway through the game, and you can get Dallas at plus 250. And the over-under is 6.5. if you're a Stars fan and supporter, that's tough to say no to, right? It's a one-goal game.
Sure.
They score one goal, they score the next goal, and it's going to go back down to minus 140 or so, and then you can really do some serious hedging. They just lowered it a little bit to plus 230, but still, these numbers for these teams that are trailing really are tempting. So let's see. Good start third period for the Indiana Pacers. Out to a 10-point lead now, 78-68. I forget what it was to start the game or to start the second half. So let me just double check and see. 9-2, 9-4. So we got 13 points in 3.5 minutes so far of the third quarter. The over-under was 53.5, I believe. 53.5, 54.5. So let's see if we get there. I say yes, but we'll find out. So, and then Halliburton with an assist. We're checking out his 60. Let's see if he gets to 60 with points, rebounds, and assists.
So I was just looking.
39.
There must have been a stat correction because he's only got 8 rebounds. We had talked about it saying he was 1 away, so they must have taken 1 away and given it to somebody else.
Yeah, maybe team rebound or something like that. So, all right. I wonder if that changed his numbers ending. Probably not. One rebound. Probably not. But
yeah.
I think this is the biggest lead of the night. Interesting, they got a 10-point lead at him as a 2.5, 3, really 3.5-point favorite, and yet the line is only 6.5. They know it's the ebb and flows of this game. Normally that would be a little bit higher than that, but I don't think they want to go over 6.5. Knicks have shown a little moxie tonight. As much as I like the Pacers, I probably would take a little flyer on 6.5 right now.
I wouldn't, but to your this is where I talk out of both sides of my mouth a little bit here because I know intuitively, Scott, that more than likely it's all the reality. As we talked about earlier with Zeno, it's not like there's a human behind the scenes saying, don't let this thing get to double figures. And it's 6.5 right now. It doesn't need to obviously climb to 10.5 in a 10-point game or something like that, 9.5, whatever. But you're gonna, just based on what we've seen here in this postseason, in this series specifically, if this thing does get to 11, 12.5, something like money's gonna start to come in on New York. And with the late rally is entirely possible, obviously, out of the Knicks. So I just don't think the odds makers want that. I don't think the sports books want the exposure to that. I think they'd much rather stay in this 6.5 area where you're not going to automatically lay it with Indy, but you're a little too nervous to take it with the Knicks.
No score Texas and Toronto. That was one of our 5 on the line plays. The unders in these Texas Ranger games are just amazing. Top of the 6th inning now. The over-under is at 3.5. I mean, you have the 6th, 7th, 8th, and theoretically the full 9th because it's no score. You're not going to get 4 runs? Let me see if Evaldi's still pitching. I don't know why the Red Sox ever got rid of him. I don't know why any team ever
didn't
gets
want to pay him.
That dude is such a didn't want. They don't. That's the answer to everything with the Red Sox. I mean, yeah, the guy is just a bull. I mean, pitches great in the clutch. Not a superstar pitcher, but man, he is. He's out of the game. So you got the bullpen in there. He's out of
the game after. He's out of the game after 5.
Yes, something must have happened. He only went 2 innings tonight. So check on that, guys.
I can't believe it's still scoreless if he only went 2 innings. That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Francis, who's pitching great for Toronto, is still in there with 70 pitches. So I think I'd still take a flyer at 3.5. You got to get 4 runs. Not even juiced, minus 114. And supposedly Toronto's got a runner on first base.
He's still been solid for Texas. I mean, I knew obviously he was having a really good year this year, as we talked about earlier, but years. 12-5, 12-8, but more notably, ERAs in the mid-3s, both cases.
Yeah.
He is, other than that, one bad when he was hurt about half the year in 2019 with Boston, he's had ERAs in the 3s going all the way back to 2018.
It's amazing.
Consistent.
And then he just bounces from team to team. Yeah. Consistent professional pitcher. So we got the Stanks and Angels starting here in a couple of minutes. Yankees, I'll give you some numbers with this game. Yankees on a 9-2 under run their last 11. 14-4 their last 18 games, playing some good baseball. 111 run differential, number 1 in Major League Baseball. Angels had that 8-game win streak, if you remember, but now they've lost 3 in a row, all at home, 2 to Miami and 1 to the Stanks last night. And the Yankees right now laying, let us go to the game. They are laying minus 230. Game just started. I wonder if someone hit a home run because they weren't minus 230 favorites to start the game. I'm thinking someone hit a home run. I don't see
anybody on base or anything like that. I mean, unless ESPN is pretty far behind. But, I mean, FanDuel shouldn't be, obviously. So let me pull that up real quick.
Right.
I mean, you said minus 230, right? So
yeah.
Now minus 2. Well, no, I mean it
that big
kind of makes
to start the game?
It was minus 215 at start, and so now they're minus 230, and first Goldschmidt, first batter of the game. So it kind of an unnecessary climb because obviously literally nothing has changed. There are no outs, there's nobody on base, just the first guy, and you got to pay the extra 15 cents. But obviously it's if the Yankees do go to the top of the first and don't score, that's going to come down quite a bit.
Right. I can't lay 2-1 with Carlos Rodon. I know he's pitched fairly well this year. He has, but I didn't think they were that
Anderson
big of a
has 2 on the other side.
Yeah. So Angels might be a live dog tonight. Who could bet the Angels? That's almost an unbettable game. Can't root for the Yankees. Right. I did that for 3 days against Colorado. My stomach just can't do it. I don't care. They can be playing Topeka High at pick'em odds. I can't do it more than 3 days in a row.
I hear you, man.
The Rockies. Speaking of the Rockies, they just tied up the Cubs. There goes the PP public parlay. Top of the 7th. Unbelievable.
Well, like you said, it's
Rockies
tied.
Team.
Cubs can still take care of business here.
I know. But they should be winning this game, Adam. Marquise was pitching tonight. He's been brutal this year. I mean, 1-7 with an ERA of like 8. No, not today. Not at Wrigley Field. I mean, the Cubs have the number 1 run differential in the National League, and this guy's pitching lights out baseball. 2 runs on 7 hits through 6 innings. Here's a guy with an ERA well over 7 heading into this game against the Cubs, who, like I said, have I think the number 1 offense in the National League as far as runs scored. And we got 2-2. And we actually got 6 innings out of this Horton dude for the Cubs. I would have signed up for that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Reds, by the way, the bases loaded with 1 out. They're already got 3 in KC, but overs are on the cusp here.
Yeah. Ken Stewart coming up next.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. That's a joke, but how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams need a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched in against Seattle the other day. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today with Hunter Brown winning the American Cy Young Award. I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. A little playoff basketball, NHL, and then we got regular season baseball. Let's talk it all with a good buddy, Cam Stewart, who takes over along with Gabe Morency at the top of the hour for the next two here on SportsGrid Radio and SportsGrid TV. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight, bud?
Hanging in there, Scott. Just hoping to get a tight hockey game here. So I even said if Dallas won this game tonight, I was going to hedge out of my season-long future play because this series is just unbelievable. Skinner is still playing great for Edmonton. The power play of the Oilers has scored both goals for them. They've looked good tonight. Been a great hockey game, and the next Pacers game went great. Did a little Indiana. Yeah. First quarter, first half, game. That's the way I'm playing it. So hopefully we can. Sorry, New York Knicks fans at SportsGrid, but I gotta bet. I gotta bet what I gotta bet. I know everyone's a Knicks fan there. I gotta think about my wallet and my mortgage payment. I got a meeting at TD tomorrow, so they're gonna shake me down at a bad percent. So I might as well win money before I get absolutely blasted by the man tomorrow. They got me by the balls, these guys. Like, they own me. They own everything. Winner, Scott. That's what we need.
I love this guy.
I'm getting better thinking about those guys and my mortgage and the interest rates. Anyway, let's talk hockey. Great game right now. I'll take Dallas plus 1.5 in this spot right now. We don't have to lay a little bit of juice. It sucks that me and Morency, I know he's going to be on Edmonton. It's always a better show when we're on the same side together and we're all cheering, like last night's Minnesota Timberwolves crazy cover that we got live on air, which was a lot of fun. But also, guys, just for something tomorrow, I could take Dallas plus 1.5 with Carolina plus 1.5. That's plus 152. I'm going to parlay that. I think Carolina actually might win another game. I'll take the plus 1.5 in a parlay. That will add that to the card for the futures market for tomorrow. NBA basketball. Do I really want to lay 5.5 live with the Pacers? I already have them, so I'm going to pass that total. I think we can get to 242.5 the way they play and the pace that they play at. That looks good. Do we do the old public parlay in baseball? I was thinking so. If we parlay the Yankees, this is, Scott, you know, this is where it goes to die, right? The Yankees D-backs parlay, the old public parlay. You know what? Small play, plus 112, Yankees and Diamondbacks. So what are you going to do? That's what we're going to do right now with the baseball. Don't really feel Seattle's minus 210. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. Don't feel like taking Miami. Live, what do we got here? Texas is minus 188 here. I'd take a shot with the Blue Jays. By the way, you guys were talking about Eovaldi. He got hurt early in that game. I was watching it.
What happened?
It was basically for precautionary reasons, though. They said he's going to be good for his next start. It was just a little tweak, and Texas didn't want to screw around with it. So they took him out real early, and Latz came in and pitched really, really well for Texas, too. Like you said it, this team can't hit. The Jays can't really hit too much either. So I don't know, Scott. I wouldn't be too confident with these teams putting up runs. Like the last game, Toronto won 2-1. So maybe it's just a low-scoring series. The Texas Rangers offense is basically dead. It barely has a heartbeat. They can't score runs.
I know it's minus 230 right now, Cam, but would you do anything with the Cubs in a tie game in the 7th? Put them with someone else? Do you have faith in Chicago to win this game?
Do I have faith in Chicago to win this game against the Rockies? I wouldn't be laying 235.
Well, that's what I mean.
No, I'm not doing it. Like, I know the Rockies suck, but once in a while they're going to get a win. And do I really trust the Cubs with that number? No, I don't. I'm going to have to pass. I would take the Rockies or nothing, but I don't want to admit that on the air. That's almost like embarrassing to say I actually think the Rockies have a chance. So how about you just forget what I said and we'll leave that game alone there, Adam? But I'm not laying
if you're going to right now. If you're going to sit here and do the public parlay of the Yankees and Diamondbacks, you can put the Cubs with the Pacers, get a much more appealing number. Then you don't have to lay your 5.5. You know, that's plus 105. Cubs Pacers money line.
Be happy with your 2-floor, your house. You don't need to go to the 4 floors and build a condo. No. Let's stay on the ground level with only a few plays. That's what happens. We keep on adding bricks to this thing, and soon our building will tumble. So I'm fine where we stand right now. Live over in the basketball game. I'm not sure. Do you guys think the Knicks can come back? I'm not sure if they can tonight. I'm on the Pacers all the way, so I'm gonna.
It's only a 6-point game.
I'll take the Blue Jays live plus 140 though. Like that game's kind of a toss-up, but Texas shouldn't be laying minus 180 against anybody. So that's what I'm going to do right there in baseball.
The Texas Rangers, back to them real quickly. They got the 3rd fewest runs in all the baseball. Only the Pirates and Rockies have fewer runs if you count today's games. And why wouldn't you? I mean, the White Sox have more. I mean, it's. I'm thinking Texas Rangers and 5, 6, 7, 8 runs in their
Not
heyday.
anymore.
Man, it's amazing, Camp. Night after night,
No,
nothing but number one under team in all of baseball, Texas Rangers.
They were talking about it on the Jays broadcast. They had numbers for Texas, and I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, they're awful. Like their offense is like at the bottom in every single category. And you look at the guys on their team, they have some good young hitters there. It's like, it's very shocking. Baseball is one of those weird sports, though. Maybe it'll come around. They're really just not playing very well right now. And if they have any injuries to their pitching lineup where they only score a couple runs, they're absolutely doomed. I think the Marlins just took a lead. I should have gone with my dogs there early. But anyway, I let the early lead for the pitch. Oh, yeah. See, that's what I should have done, but I didn't. What do you guys think about this
Carolina?
hockey game?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about tomorrow. Is Carolina going to extend the series tomorrow? Or is it that?
I can't believe you said you would take +1.5. What makes you believe Carolina can win another game?
A lot. I think they dominated Florida the last game. I actually think they played very good in most parts of the game that they lost 6-2. It's all about goaltending, and I know Bobrovsky's better, but Anderson played well. I actually, Adam, I really believe Carolina's going to win 2 games and then lose in Game 6 in Florida. I think they're good for another win. This is me, but I don't think anybody shares it. The opinions of Cam Stewart don't reflect the consensus of SportsGrid, but that's fine. I'm going to take. And look at that parlay though too. I get 2 +1.5 to +152. So if I take Dallas +1.5 live and Carolina, it's +152 on my FanDuel account. So that's what I'm going to do with the hockey games, guys.
How about we're looking for saves for Stuart Skinner. So you can bet him third period. Now Dallas has about 5,000 shots on goal already. Considering they're going to be down 2-1, do we not play Skinner saves third period?
Great call. And Scott, for tomorrow, Bobrovsky, get it while it's hot, over saves. Carolina, all they do is shoot pucks at the net, and that's what worked for them. And they finally got a couple through. Watch out for him. The saves total is way too low for Bobrovsky. I think Carolina might get 40 on net. That's what I'm thinking.
Not bad.
Skinner sitting at 24 right now.
Hey, I'm engaged. Top of the hour.
Buy or sell, Devers will be traded this season. Let's also not forget that there's $300 million on the table due to Devers, which eliminates him from, what would you say, like 17 teams?
Oh, I would think more than 17, maybe 27. Oh, that's a joke. But how many teams could afford him? All right, 5, 6. How many teams needed a third baseman who can't play third base? How many people want to deal with his attitude? He hasn't come off looking good in any of this. Whether you believe he should have anyway, he doesn't look good at this. Will he be traded? No, he won't be traded. The salary alone makes it highly unlikely. He's a great hitter. No doubt he can hit. But other than that, there's too many between the money and the attitude and no really position for him here. He's not getting dealt anytime soon.
Buy or sell, if the season ended today, Hunter Brown would win the American League Cy Young Award.
Hunter Brown has been fantastic. All right, the guy that Craig's teasing, by the way, is Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers here, who's certainly right up there with them. Max Fried for the Yankees has had a fantastic season. They finally lost a start where he pitched it against Seattle the other day. They'd won every start. He's been fantastic. The season ended today with Hunter Brown winning the American Cy Young Award. I certainly couldn't argue it if he did. That being said, he's going up against Skubal, who won it last year, going up against Fried of the Yankees. My guess is that he'll need a year. You understand what I'm saying? He needs a year before he can get that kind of recognition if he's tied with somebody. If he's clearly ahead, then I think he would win here. But as of right now, would he win it? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it would be probably Max Fried.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in game live. Game day here on the grid. Scott and Adam closing up shop. It'll be Gabe and Cam at the top of the hour for the next two on SportsGrid TV, SportsGrid Radio. Just checking out our 5 on the line trends that we gave out at the beginning of the night. And once again, showing why we're 41 games over 500 with these trends, whether you like them or not. And I won't even take credit for it, just because these are the best trends. I mean, you got to pick which ones you think are the best, but a lot of these are games that I would go the other way. So just to kind of recap, we gave out Dallas scores the first goal, Edmonton scores the first goal because Dallas has given up the first goal, 1-0 Edmonton. But Dallas has given up the first goal now in 14 of 17 playoff games. So, and if you did Adam's way of doing it, that one as well, because Edmonton did score in the first period. They were leading 1-0. He was saying, lay a half a goal and get plus odds. But either way, trend-wise, Edmonton scores first. That's a winner. Indiana team points 111.5. I mean, they got 93, and they're still in the third quarter. So barring something really crazy, that's going to be a winner. Under 8.5 Toronto, Texas. Last check scoreless in the 7th. That looks pretty good. Under 9 Pittsburgh, Arizona. That's just underway. And then the dopey Cubs. Leave it for us. We'd go 4-1 and have the one loser be the Cubs at minus 320.
Don't even speak that. Don't even speak that into existence.
Yeah.
I got the Cubs and money line parlays today. I don't need that to happen. I need Chicago to find a way at Wrigley and pull this thing out. By the way,
how about the Metsies? The Mets scored a run. No, they scored another run.
All
They're
right.
now up 6-4.
I thought you were going to tell me the White Sox, because the White Sox last I had looked had a runner on in the top of the 8th, I think it was, and they were down 5-4. So obviously they got out of that jam. You sweating your third quarter right now? 44 total points, 2.5 to go.
Little bit. It has definitely slowed down. The boys in Vegas, that's why they're the boys in Vegas, right? Giving you such a low number, they were begging. Still got a shot, but I need someone just hit a free throw. So I need 10 points, 9 points with 2.5 left. So a couple of threes, back-to-back threes would be nice.
Sure, that'd feel nice.
Now what do you do fourth quarter? Is this a sign of things to come, or?
No, I still go over.
Or is he going to go back?
Yeah, I'd still go over in the fourth. Yeah, I think this one is going to, come down to the wire. Maybe people who invested at Knicks plus 6.5, or you should be feeling good if you did, at least at the moment, because they've hung to this point. I mean, we had Zeno on earlier, and we were looking at plus 6.5 at that point. It was in the first quarter. Zeno was like, I couldn't do it. It needs to get to double figures because are you really going to depend upon the Knicks to hang around with the Pacers for 3 more quarters? And at least so far they've done it. Outscored them in the second by 3. Third quarter right now is basically even. Fourth quarter still to come. You're at 47, by the way, with about 90 seconds left.
Yeah. It could happen, but probably not. Not out of it. So Arizona scored early, still batting bottom of the first against Pittsburgh 1-0. What is Pirate team? We don't talk about them because Colorado's taken all the limelight as far as teams being bad. But man, this Pirate team is pretty darn bad. Seattle 3-0 over Washington. Didn't bring up that game too much, but good start for the Mariners there. And how about the Marlins? 5-0 over the San Diego Padres already. Top of the first. They're still batting top of the first inning.
Marlins are a funny team that way too. That's a team that I have. So they're kind of like the White Sox. They're not. They're like, I just have trouble betting against them unless I really love the matchup on the other side. They're frisky.
Yeah. They're little, and they played a little bit better. They took 2 or 3 from the Angels, who remember had won 8 in a row. They could have very easily won last night against San Diego. So, our Red Sox going to hold on 1-0 over Milwaukee. 1 stinking run. Top of the night they play. Something tells me
what
the
do you
Brewers
need to get to again?
Brewers are plus 6-1. It's 50.
What's your number?
Is it either? Let me see. I know it's either 53.5 or 54.5. Let me see what I actually got.
It's 50 right now with $1.16 left. So you're right there.
Yeah, I got it at 54.5. I need 5 points.
All right.
I know it was 53.5. Yeah, thought it possible. And now I have 51.5 and 52.5 for the fourth quarter. So let's hope Yeah, I would be more comfortable with 53.5, but it is what it is. So,
sure.
All right, Edmonton wins, or does Dallas come back?
I think so.
And do we get a tie?
No,
do we get at least a tie?
Do we get overtime? Do we take the Joe Madden Scott Wetzel overtime bet?
Yes.
Do we make that?
The overtime special, yeah. Good job, Adam. Appreciate it, man.